Giant was what kind of started it last time too, because Ghetto was the very first video that I posted on that account about the encyclopedias. And of course, while I'm reading over it, you can see that. So I had tons of comments that were like, it says giant. It also says like the names. Can you please read over that part? So anyways, we ended up doing it. There's not much. However, like I said, my husband found me another set of encyclopedias from the 1890s, and there is a lot more. So let's go ahead and read them both. Giants, a person of unusual height or bulk. In Grecian mythology, the giants were descendants of Uranus and Gaia. They warred against Zeus, but were subdued, and many of them were buried under Mount Etna and other volcanoes. It is possible that the story of the conflict between gods and giants had its origin in volcanic convulsions. Hercules, Orion, and Polyphemus are famous giants of Grecian legend. In Scandinavian mythology, the giant Ymir was the first created being. Jotunheim was the home of the giants, of whom Skymir, I know I said it wrong last time, was one. He was so enormous that on occasion, Loki himself of the giant race, Thor and Thalfi, being lost in a forest, found refuge in Skrymir's glove. The legend and tradition of all nations are full of tales of giants. One of the stories which never loses its charm for children is that of Jack and the Giant Killer, which is of Welsh origin. See height, dwarf, and pygmy. Now, also, if you do not like it or you don't believe in giants, I don't give a shit. I'm so sick of you dumbasses leaving stupid comments like you guys are forced to watch my videos. If you don't have a life, take up diamond painting. Find a place to play bingo. I don't know, but you guys are stupid and annoying. Sorry, not you, hun. Anyways, giants. A giant, gigas, is an individual whose stature and bulk exceeds those of his species or race generally. Until the beginning of the 19th century, it was universally believed that giants of a size far exceeding those who are exhibited in our times formerly existed, either as nations or as individual specimens. Hold on, my pig's getting something. This belief was based on the asserted discovery of colossal human bones, on supposed scriptural evidence, and on the evidence of various ancient and medieval authors. A reference to the first volume of Cuvier's ossements fossils will show that the bones of an elephant, rhinoceros, mastodon, etc. have been exhibited and accepted as evidence of prehistoric giants. That's what they're gonna say. Even so good a naturalist as Buffon fell into the popular delusion and figured the bones of an elephant as the remains of the human giants. Isidore Geoffroy Saint Hilaire, in his Histoire des Anomalies de l'Organisation, notices several of the most famous of these cases. The scripture evidence, when carefully examined, does not amount to much. The Hebrew words Nephilim and Jeborim, which are translated giants in the Authorized Version, Nephilim and mighty men in the Revised Version, were apparently not giants in our sense of the word. The height of Og, king of Bashan, is not given. We are only told the length of his bed. The height of Goliath is put at 6.5 cubits, but by Josephus and the Septuagint at 4 cubits and a span, say 8 feet 9 inches. That's still pretty fucking tall. The Anakim and other tall races referred to in scripture need not have been of superhuman size. The classical evidence is abundant and obviously untrustworthy. Yes, you're right. You are very untrustworthy. Thus, besides Homer's allusions to Cyclops, giants, Polyphemus, and like legendary races or persons, Plutarch relates that the Sertorius have the grave of, I don't have my glasses on, Antuus and Tingis in Mauritania opened, and finding there his body, full 60 cubits long, and indefinitely astonished, offered the tomb to be closed, gave his confirmation to the story, and added new honors to the memory of the giant. Pliny reports that an earthquake in Crete disclosed the bones of a giant 46 cubits in length. Just FYI, that's about 69 feet long, who was held by some to be Orion and by others Otis. Descending to more certain evidence, there is no doubt that a height of between 8 and 9 feet, probably of more than 9 feet, has been attained. There is a skeleton in the Museum of Trinity College, Dublin, 8 feet 6 inches in height. That of Charles Burns, 1761 to 83, in the Museum of the College of Surgeons of England is 8 feet 2 inches, and that of a giant in the museum at Bonn is 8 feet. And the actual body with the soft parts attached was probably 2 or 3 inches longer than the skeleton. Byrne, for example, measured 8 feet 4 inches after his death, as we find recorded in the Annual Register, Volume 26, page 209. He has often been confounded with Patrick Cotter or O'Brien, 1761 to 1806, whose height is variously given at 7 feet 10 inches and 8 feet 7 inches. The Scottish giant in the service of Frederick William I of Prussia measured 8 feet 3 inches and was notably in his regiment of giants. The Chinese giant Chang claimed to have grown from 7 feet 8 inches to 8 feet between his first appearance in London, 1865, and his second in 1880. The Austrian Joseph Winkelmeyer, 1865 to 87, was 8 feet 9 inches. Popular belief seems right in treating the Patagonians as the tallest race of men, the mean height being asserted to be about 5 feet 11 inches. That's crazy. My husband's 6'6", and it says the average American man is 5'5". Like, that's crazy. It appears, 1, that giants are of rarer occurrence than dwarfs. 2, that giants are unusually of a lymphatic temperament and of a very delicate complexion, often deformed and almost always badly proportioned, that their muscles are flabby, their voice weak, while dwarfs are often perfectly well proportioned and strong for their size. 3, that giants are never long-lived. Byrne died at 22, McGrath at 20, Winkelmeyer at 22, while dwarfs seem to attain the full ordinary period of human existence. 4, that while giants usually exhibit a want of activity and energy and are feeble both in body and mind, dwarfs are in general lively, active, and irascible. We know little of the causes which occasion the excessive development of the arrested growth on which the production of giants and dwarfs depends. See deformities. Mythological giants and dwarfs. Giants play a part in the mythology of almost all nations of Aryan descent. The Greeks, who represented them as being monstrous size with hideous contentances and having the tails of dragons, placed their abode in volcanic districts, whither they were fabled to have been banished after their unsuccessful attempt upon heaven, when the gods, with the assistance of Hercules, imprisoned them under Etna and other volcanoes. Their reputed origin, like the places of their abode, points to the idea of the mysterious electrical and volcanic convulsions of nature, which they obviously typify, and in accordance with this view, they are said to have been of mingled heavenly and earthly descent, and to have sprung from the blood that fell from the slain Ouranos upon the earth Ge, which was their mother. In the cosmogony of the northern nations, giants occupy a far more important place than the Greeks assigned to them. For here, the first created being was the giant Ymir, called also Argelmur, and the ancient Chaos, the progenitor of the frost giants, Hrimthursar, among who dwelt the All-Father before the creation of heaven and earth. How Ymir, the first giant, arose and what came of the giants and their home, Jotunheim, is an integral part of Scandinavian mythology. The giants have been held to the personifications of the power of nature, of barbarism and conflict with the more civilized regime, and of heathen powers in conflict with Christianity. Even the boy's tale of Jack the Giant Killer has been held to have originated in the struggle of the Christian Welsh with the pagan Anglo-Saxons. Swift's, Brobdingnagians are the best known of modern imaginary giants. See Wood Giants and Dwarfs from 1868. Tyler's Primitive Culture, so it's just other books. I know that was a long video. I'm so sorry. What should we go over next?